welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Damie Core, where today we are talking about DC Universe, as the first episode of DCLoad, the podcast, is going to be premiering with this episode. This episode of DCLoad is about telling a brief history of the DC Universe. Starting off with the Golden Age, which actually there are multiple stages of it. People don't think there is, but you got the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Dark Age, Modern Age Part 1, Modern Age Part 2, and then of course we got Now Time, Prime Age. And it'll most likely continue to grow and grow and grow. We're going to start off with the Golden Age, where today we're going to be talking about the brief history of the universe. And of course, I would like to let you know, you guys are awesome. Starting off with the Golden Age. You ready? So, the Golden Age. First off, the DCU, with its multitude of characters, stories, and events, may seem a little daunting to new readers and fans alike. To aid travelers on their journey through this universe, this timeline that I am about to tell you, highlights major turning points in DC's long and dynamic history from birth to rebirth. So, we got the Golden Age, right? The Golden Age, the first, 1938 in June. The first ever superhero debuts in the mighty form of Superman, the Man of Steel. His immediate success kickstarts the Golden Age of the comic books. Of course, then it goes to All-Star Comics 3, the winter of 1940, when the DC Universe takes shape as some of the most successful superheroes band together for the first time to start the Justice Society of America, JSA. Members include the recently created The Flash, Green Lantern, and Hawkman. And then it goes to Detective Comics 27, May 1939, when Batman swings into comic book action, inspired by both Superman, and the Masked Man pulp fiction popular at the time. And then finally, for the Golden Age, of the biggest turning point that I would say that there is the All-Star Comics number 8, December 1941 to January 1942. The first truly iconic female superhero is torn from myth and transformed into modern times, the amazing Amazon Wonder Woman. It was the first time that women were seen as... This helped start how women were supposed to be seen. Strong, independent, and powerful. Not the ones that are supposed to stay in the kitchen and cooking and taking care of the kids all day, as the men go off to work and then sit on their asses when they get home. Then, of course, we're going to go to the Silver Age now. The Silver Age, shows, us with the first Flash and stuff like that. Like the beginning of the Silver Age, September to October 1956, showcase number 4. The Silver Age of comics dawns as the Flash is reinvented for a new era with the debut of Barry Allen. This is the first time we see Barry Allen as the Flash. The first comic where he shows up, being able to run fast and be light, learning how to do it all. If it weren't for this comic to come out, we would never have the show The Flash, which I'm grateful for, because the Flash show is pretty good. The Brave and the Bold 28, February to March 1960. The concept behind the Justice Society of America, a high-profile group of superheroes, is rekindled with DC's modern iconic teaming up of the form of the Justice League of America, JLA. If it weren't for that, I would say that, yeah. Then we got Flash 123, September 1961, where the multiverse is created when the Golden Age Flash comes face to face with his Silver Age counterpart, also known as Barry Allen. The Golden Age Flash's reality would become known as Earth 2, while the Silver Age's Flash world would eventually be designated Earth 1. And then, of course, that's the start of the DC Universe, multiverse right there, which I'm grateful they did, because without them we would not have all these great things or anything. I am grateful that just happened like that. Then we go to Justice League of America 21, August 1963. The DC Universe has its first interdimensional crisis when the JLA meets the JSA, also known as Justice League of America, Justice Society of America. For the first time in what will become a yearly team-up tradition, which there are so many comics that I have read where it's the JLA and the JSA teaming up, and I love every one of them. They're amazing. They're so great. To be honest, it's one of the greatest things I think would happen. Then we go to Detective Comics 359, January 1967. Batgirl, also known as Barbara Gordon, also known as, Jim Gordon's daughter, bursts onto the scene in her debut appearance as an independent cable hero who fast becomes one of DC's most popular characters. In my opinion, she is one of the Barbara Gordon, also known as Batgirl, amazing. I love that comics. I love those comics. I love them when she appears into them because, to be honest, it just wouldn't be the same without her. Then we go to the Bronze, where the Bronze deals with Detective Comics, Green Lantern, New Gods, DC Comics Presents, all this stuff that, shows that Batman is going back to his roots, of his dark roots. The Green Arrow and Green Lantern comics start to speed up and become more official and more defice. Then, of course, you got the New Gods, which is, more gods are coming there, but it's like, Superman's reality is turning into the fourth world kind of thing. But then you got DC Comics Presents. Don't get me wrong, I think it was a little early to do it in the 80s. I think if they waited 5 more years, it would have been have much stuff, because they had so much great comics show up. But in the past, after this comic showed up, but if they waited to put that comic just 5 years, all those comics would relate to this a lot better, because then it would show that better. And it's the Junior Justice League, also known as the Teen Titans, come into its own preview to their ongoing title. I feel like the Teen Titans should, they should have waited an extra 5 years, because, to be honest, if you waited 5 more years, there would have been so much more comics. You could introduce them slowly, each one slowly into each comic like they did. But then make that comic drop, and then people would be more excited for it. People were more interested in the Teen Titans at that time than the actual other comics, because Teen Titans popped out. Then we go ahead and go to Crisis on Infinite Earths number 1, April 1985. Sure, it was only 5 years after the Junior Justice League showed up, also known as the Teen Titans. What I have to say is, if it weren't for this comic, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, I would probably not be a comic person, a DC person at all. I'd probably, stick to movies and all that. But as the timeline of multiple Earths are endangered by the Anti-Monitor, which we'll get to him in a later episode, And it starts to destroy and everything, causing stuff to, evaporate, stuff to destroy. As they all band together to create this new, better life, I feel like it would work. Now, for Dark Age. Dark Age, on the other hand, it deals more with Batman in the beginning of Watchmen and starting off with 0 Hour and all that stuff in Legends. Batman the Dark Knight, 86. This is the start of the great aged Batman that, wants to become better and stuff than just what he used to be. Then you got the Legends, which when Darkseid, comes in and tries to destroy the world, the Justice League forms to oppose him, known as the Suicide Squad. They put together the Suicide Squad to stop him. Then you got Superman, Volume 2, 75, when Man-Skill is killed by Doomsday, but comes back in the next one, of course. Then we got Batman's Adventures, which, oh my goodness, Batman Adventures 12, great. Just great. As Harley Quinn arrives in the DC universe, it's really turned stuff really great. And then you get 0 Hour, which after Crisis on Infinite Earth, it just made sense. Then you got Modern Age Part 1, which deals with the Identity Crisis, the Infinite Crisis, 52, Final Crisis, and the Blackest Night, which all deal with all these superheroes and supervillains battling each other. Like in the Blackest Night, it dealt with the Black Lanterns, one of the most corrupt lanterns of all. And the only way to stop them was to use the willpower of light. In the Identity Crisis, it all dealt with the JLA trying to find the mystery of this murder, which wiped the minds of its villains afterwards. Then you got Infinite Crisis number 1, 2005. It's just how it was. And of course you got 52, which is, DC titles jump a year ahead in the wake of Infinite Crisis. The weekly 52 issue maxi series, dubbed 52, fills in the gaps of everything in the new multiverse of 52 Earths. Then you got Modern Age Part 2, which is the Forever Evil, all this stuff that, really coincides with it. 2011, July 2011, right between Modern Age Part 1 and Modern Age Part 2 was Flashpoint. After Barry Allen, had the crisis on Earth, on Infinite Earths, he felt destroyed. So he had to go back. He had to go back to where things didn't feel as different. But then he realized he destroyed it. He destroyed what he had. So he had to go back and fix it. And that's when Thomas Wayne Batman shows up, which we'll get into that later as well. Then you got Prime Age, when it deals with Doomsday Clock, Dark Knight's Death Metal, and Dark Knight's Metal 1 through 6. All these are the most recent one in the Prime Age. After the rebirth in May 2016, it all came down to the Prime Age, where all the characters are now reformed and better than ever, in my opinion. They all start to go, like Flash, now Wally West, not as good as Barry Allen, but I'm happy for him. And then, it just starts off really good and everything. And that's DCLoad. See you guys in the next episode, where we start going over Argus and other characters that you would like. Hey everybody, Gamecore Gaming here. You just watched the first episode of the most awesome podcast ever called DCLoad. There's more where that came from. Second off, have you ever wanted merch so cheap? Well, guess what? For the next month, my DCLoad Podcast merch is 75% off with the code DCLoad100. Go to my link in my description on YouTube. Click on my merch, spring.creator. You'll find my link right there. You'll find it. Click it. Go find it. Demicore. Go find the DCLoad Podcast merch. Put in the promo code DCLoad100 and you'll get 75% off for the next month. One-time use for every user.